Good morning, boys and girls. Miss Noble here. I am back with a different kind of lesson today. We are going to be writing just like we always do on Mondays, but this is different because our writing today is also going to span across the whole week. So what you're going to be working on this week is a creative story. So I know that sounds like a lot of work and maybe it sounds scary, but we're going to break it down so that it is easier for you. So when you think of a story, right, there are four main parts to a story, okay? The first part are the characters in the story. Now the characters can be people, they can be animals, they could even be things like forks and spoons and cars or anything like that, okay? So that's the first part of a story. You need to come up with who you want to be your characters. The second part of a story is the setting. The setting is where your story takes place. So if I am thinking about the Three Little Pigs, that story takes place in like a forest with houses, right? Your story could take place at the zoo. It could take place in a castle. It could take place inside. So wherever your story takes place, that's called the setting. So that's two parts, the characters and the setting. Okay, the third part of your story is the problem. What's the wrong thing happening in the story? And you may not realize it, but almost all stories have a problem. So if I go back to the Three Little Pigs, the Three Little Pigs' problem is that the big bad wolf wants to blow their houses down. And their other problem is that, well, their houses really aren't that strong and two of them get blown down, right? So that's the problem in the story. It could also be maybe somebody gets lost in a story, or something gets broken, or somebody fights. Okay, those are all problems that can happen in a story, okay? So now we have the characters, which are the people, or the animals, or the things that your story is about. You have your setting, which is where your story takes place. You have your problem, which is what goes wrong in your story. And the last part kind of goes with the problem. It's called the solution, okay? And your solution is how your characters fix the problem, okay? So again, going back to the Three Little Pigs, they fix the problem by going into the third little piggy's house, right? And his house is made of bricks and it's too strong and the wolf can't blow it down, okay? They fix their problem of being chased and the big bad wolf can't do anything to them because their house is too strong, okay? So you have to come up with four parts of your own creative story. Now, I know that sounds like a big crazy thing to think about. So we're going to go slow. You're going to work on today. You have a little paper to fill out. If you don't have paper, you can write it on your own paper. You have to come up with characters. I would say every good story has at least two characters, okay? And you have to decide whether you want those characters to be people, whether you want them to be animals, or if you want them to be things, okay, like food, anything like that. So I brought 3 examples to show you what I'm talking about. This book is called Madeline, and the characters in this book are people, okay? So you can see, I'm not even gonna read this story to you, but I'm just gonna show you that the characters, or who the story is about, they're people, okay? Can you see that? They're all people. And just by looking here, it looks like right now their setting is outside. Remember, setting is where it takes place. It's actually Paris, right? Okay. Anyway, next. This book is Your Mama a Llama. The characters in this book are all what? Let's see. All the pages we see here, what are the characters? Are they people? Animal or things? They're animals, right? So the characters in this book are animals. And you remember this book is one of my favorites, Potato Pants. The characters in this book, it's a mix, right? We have vegetables, I guess, right? Because the potato is a character, remember? The potato is a character, and then the eggplant, remember he wanted like eggplant pants? He was a character. There's also, I believe, Let me look. There may be a person in here too. Yeah, there is. Okay, see, there's people in here too. So your book can have both. You can have, like, food can be the characters. I read a book called Spoon once. Spoon was the character. Fork, knives. The garbage truck could be a character. Cars can be characters. So you have to decide what type of characters you want your book to have, okay? And then you need to give them names, decide what they look like, all of that fun stuff, okay? Then you need to decide the setting. And the setting in our Potato Pants book, right? Our setting where the story takes place was mostly at the Lance Vance's Fancy Pants store, right? Or right outside of it. It's hard to tell in these pages, but remember he was looking for his potato pants? Okay, so his setting was the pants store. The setting of the llama book looks like it's kind of outside in the forest or like the meadow pond type of thing, okay? That's where this story takes place. And then we said this book, Madeline, just I could tell by the cover, that this story takes place in Paris. Okay, so you need to decide your characters, your setting, and then the problem. So again, I'm going to go back to Potato Pants for this one because you've all listened to that one. Potato Pants, do you remember what his problem was? Let me think for a second. What's Potato Pants' problem? Or Potato's problem, right? That he wanted to buy potato pants, right? But eggplant was there and he was afraid to go buy eggplant and then there were no pants left. Remember, that was his problem. And then they fixed the problem. Do you remember how they fixed the problem in Potato Pants? Do you remember? The Lance Vance Fancy Pants store, they gave him the last pair of potato pants that were in the window. Okay? So that was the solution. So your job today is you're going to get a paper, and there's 4 boxes on your paper. And in each box, you're going to fill part of it out. The first part says your characters. I want you to come up with 2 characters, okay? The next box, at least, you can come up with 5, whatever you want, but at least 2. The next box is your setting box, and that's where do you want your story to happen. Okay, so if you want your characters to be a fork and a knife and you want your setting to be the kitchen, that's great. If you want your characters to be a unicorn and a princess, maybe your story takes place at a castle. If you want your characters to be a monster truck and a taxi, maybe your story takes place on a racetrack, okay? You have to decide characters and then a setting for them where that story is going to take place. Then I need you to think a little bit deeper and you're going to write about the problem. What's going to go wrong for one of your characters in the story? What's going to happen to them? Not something horrible, but just something that might go wrong. Maybe they get lost, something gets broken, they're sad about something. Come up with some kind of problem. And then how are they going to fix that problem? Okay? Maybe they go searching for the person who's lost and they find them, or they figure out why someone's being so mean and they fix it. And you just have to come up with all these great ideas. And this is your story, So there is no right or wrong way. It could be as creative and crazy as you want, and it could be as simple as you want. It is your story, okay? So for the next 2 days, you're going to really be working on the characters, the setting, the problem, and the solution, those 4 pieces. And then come later in the week, I'm going to help you how to get those sentences out, okay? So get very creative. This is my favorite type of writing, and I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. Have a great day.